The South Carolina softball team is back in full swing as the Gamecocks are back at home this week, taking on Georgia Southern and Arkansas. All this and more on this week's episode of Capital City Sports. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Capital City Sports. I'm your host, Claudia Chakamian. After dropping a tough series at Texas A&M last weekend, the Gamecock softball team is back at home this week, and they started off by taking on Georgia Southern on Wednesday. Eli Brand was at Beckham Field for all the coverage.
South Carolina returned home on Wednesday night to take on the Georgia Southern Eagles in an attempt to right the ship after losing their first series of the season this weekend against the Texas A&M Aggies.
The 12th-ranked Gamecocks came into today's matchup in third place in the SEC, but their goal on Wednesday was to pick up a win to bolster their non-conference resume. There wasn't much action throughout the game on offense, but there was enough early to carry the Gamecocks to the finish line. A 3-run homer in the bottom of the first inning by Alyssa Vanderveer gave USC a lead they wouldn't relinquish. The reason that the early runs were enough for the Gamecocks was a dominant pitching performance by Kelsey O. She struck out the side in the first and went on to frustrate the Eagles lineup for the rest of the time that she was in the game. This was evident by the amount of easy ground balls and flyouts the Gamecock fielders were able to put away. Georgia Southern would end up making it interesting in the final inning, though, taking O's replacement deep for a 2-run homer. They would also put runners on first and second in the final frame before finally bowing out to USC. In the end, Carolina won the game 5-2 and moved their overall record for the season to 31-6.
Georgia Southern made it interesting in the final inning, but South Carolina asserted its dominance this game and held on until the end. Their next game will be this Friday against the Arkansas Razorbacks here at Beckham Field. For Capital City Sports, I'm Eli Brand.
After getting that win, the Gamecocks look to continue that momentum into a top 25 matchup against number 20 Arkansas, starting on Friday night, and Ethan Still has all that coverage.
After a win earlier in the week against Georgia Southern, the Gamecock softball team began their weekend by taking on the 20th-ranked Arkansas Razorbacks. The game began as a defensive battle with both pitchers playing well and several outs on caught balls. The Gamecock offense strengthened in the fourth inning when Kayla Drodar would load the bases for the Gamecocks. The Razorbacks took advantage of force-out opportunity with a double play here at home and first base. However, with Jordan Augustus now on third, Jana Johns hit a single out to left field, allowing her to score. Drodar would attempt to cross the plate but would be tagged out with a hit in the face by Razorback catcher Kayla Green. Now in the fifth, an error at second base would set up Kennedy Clark with scoring opportunity. Later in the inning, Kenzie McGuire would send another ball into the left field, bringing Clark home and giving the Gamecocks a 2-0 lead. Carolina continued to play well in the field, almost getting a double play here and keeping the Razorbacks scoreless through the sixth. Arkansas would make this a nail-biter though, scoring in the top of the seventh and keeping 2 runners on base as a threat. Drodar seemed to struggle in the seventh, missing several opportunities, but would ultimately close it out, beating the Razorbacks 2-1. This win continues the Gamecocks' undefeated homestand this year, and they will play part 2 and 3 of the series in a doubleheader on Sunday starting at 1 p.m. For Capital City Sports, I'm Ethan Still.
That's all we have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Keep up with all Gamecock athletics by following us on Twitter at CCS on SGTV. For Capital City Sports, I'm Claudia Chakamian. We'll see you next time.